Well, we go full Indiana Jones this week on Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 5, titled Entombed. So let's get into it. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of our videos, please like our content and subscribe to the channel. It really does help us out and gives us the opportunity to create more content for you. Okay, let's dive in. So we drop in and see Wrecker and Omega searching through scrap, and we get a nice little moment between the two. Wrecker does seem to have a childish mentality to him, so it's easy to see why they connect so much. It's sweet to see each of the Bad Batch's fondness for their youngest member. So back on Ord Mantell, Phee Genoa, played by Wanda Sykes, is hanging out and telling stories of her adventures, and one of the pieces Omega finds in the junk pile turns out to be an ancient compass with coordinates to the Kaldar trinary system. So what do? They all agree to go on what they believe will be a treasure hunt. Phee Genoa kind of described herself as a pirate, but in this episode, it's very clear that she goes off on these fun little adventures, these little treasure hunts. And it kind of reminds me of the archaeologist Dr. APHRA from the comics. So I wonder why they didn't describe her as an archaeologist in this. So they land on a dead planet and the compass activates and leads them to a mountain, which has the markings over 1,000 years old. And Phee tells them they're on Skara Nal. She says it's more ancient than the Jedi's and the treasure they are looking for is the heart of the mountain. This really did remind me of Lord of the Rings and the Arkenstone, with our heroes working out how to position symbols and safely walk across tunnels to get to their prize. It really did give off a lot of Indiana Jones vibes to me. We then get to see the heart of the mountain, and when Phee takes it out, it activates a huge war machine and continues to blast the ground until they eventually put the stone back in its place, which apparently deactivates the machine and causes it to blow up. The technology in the machine kind of reminded me of the World Between Worlds a little. It kind of makes me wonder if this ancient technology is somehow linked to Mortis itself. Speaking of ancient technology, in this episode we do get a reference to the Ancients, which were beings who existed way before the Jedi. With the heart of the mountain that is shown to be sort of like a crystal, could this possibly be a kyber crystal? And could these Ancients have been Force wielders? For me, these Ancients may have been some of the first to travel using hyperspace, and this war machine might be the remnants that they left behind. Perhaps they're linked to the Rakata, which we got our first mention in Andor. The Rakata were also known as the Builders, and were one of the earliest spacefaring races. They were also known to use the dark side of the Force, and use the dark side to power all of their technology. Now, the Rakata were very ancient, way before the Jedi, and they existed around 30,000 BBY. Perhaps this old war machine was from the Rakata Empire. And the most interesting implication here is maybe Phee is looking for the Starforge. And if you don't know what the Starforge is, it's an ancient and automated shipyard that could create the most powerful army of all time. Could Phee possibly be working for Palpatine to find the Starforge? Perhaps this whole season is building up to us finding the Starforge, and the Bad Batch will be instrumental in destroying it so the Empire can't use it. And just like with the second episode this season, our team comes out of this situation without anything really to show for it, except the fun of the adventure. All in all, I found it was a fun homage to Indiana Jones and had a bit of Goonies vibe to it as well. I enjoyed it for what it was. Overall, really, we didn't get a huge amount of expansion to the story and no real forward momentum with the Bad Batch. We did get an opportunity to expand and explore Phee Genoa as a character, and I bet that her knowledge and skills will play a big part later down the road. Like I said, will she end up being a bad guy in this? Time will tell. Let me know what you think in the comments. So for my rating, I'm going to give this a solid 7 out of 10. Not the best episode of the season, but I'm still having fun with this one. So what did you think of this week's episode, and how are you liking the season so far? Leave your comments below and let me know. So thanks for joining me today on Fatherly Fandom, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And from our families to yours, have a good one, and may the Force be with you.